A gun and suicide bomb attack on Istanbul's Ataturk International Airport has killed 36 people and injured more than 140. Shortly before the blast, 3 gunmen with AK-47 rifles exchanged gunfire with security guards outside the airport's international terminal. They then blew themselves up after police fired at them.
Let me start by once again commenting on the horrific terrorist attack that took place yesterday in Istanbul's main international airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the world. The prayers of the American people are with the people of Turkey, the people of Istanbul, and all those who were affected by this terrible crime. First of all, the integration of national economies into a global economy. That's here. That's done. And so the question is not whether or not there's going to be an international global economy. There is one.
How much does America want to invest around the world? We're seeing a new world order now being built, a post-World War II world order. And I don't think America can retreat from that. I think we have to balance and adapt and adjust to the realities and the currents of this new world order.
And we're building an inclusive society in which everybody's got a fair shot. That's how we're going to solve these problems. So we're going to keep on pushing hard to shape an international order that works for our people. We're going to keep on pushing hard to shape an international order that works for our people.
There's been a very, very bloody week for worldwide terrorism. This huge blast at the weekend in the Iraqi capital in Baghdad, of course, killing over 120 people.
2 bombs went off Sunday in the capital city of Baghdad.
Against an orange sky, dazed shoppers and first responders sifted through twisted and charred wreckage.
Well, the death toll from one of the deadliest explosions ever to hit the Iraqi capital, Baghdad, has now exceeded 200.
The third mass terror attack carried out by the terror group in the last week.
Bangladesh's new reality. 20 people are dead after gunmen took hostages at a cafe in Dhaka. Although there have been a string of recent attacks, this scale of violence is rare. It's the first large-scale attack of its kind in Bangladesh's recent history.
Military official says 20 people were killed.
Suspected suicide bombers have targeted 3 different cities across Saudi Arabia on the second to last day of Ramadan. Now, flames and smoke were seen rising nearby in what is the first ever attack in Medina. 2 security men are believed to be dead.
Police are calling it one of the worst crime scenes they've ever been called to. Tonight, Clear Creek Township police say a man shot his estranged wife and her brother and then turned the gun on himself.
Warren County officials say a shooting in the driveway of a home is one like they have never ever seen before and one they will never soon forget.
He knew the victims.
I've known them for a while. They moved in a couple years ago. I played basketball with them. They've always been the friendliest people in the neighborhood, so it's a shock.
Any of these mass shootings, it's, some person who's gone insane, and I don't know what makes a person flip that switch.
A horrific story out of Texas with the Tennessee Valley connection. Police say Decatur native Christy Sheets shot and killed her 2 daughters.
People who knew the Decatur woman are now left in disbelief.
This is not Christy that I know. It's just not. I thought it was the wrong person. It had to be. When you meet her, you know she's a mom.
The first time we met, within probably 30 seconds of meeting her, we were talking about her daughters. She loved those girls. I can't imagine what possibly has gone through her head. I saw no signs of anything like this. It just totally shocked me.
And people in Memphis are still in shock after a mother stabbed her 4 children to death.
The Mid-South is mourning the death of 4 children who police say were killed by their own mother.
4-year-old Talon Garner, 3-year-old Saya Garner, 2-year-old Savi Garner, and 6-month-old Yazi Garner. were all stabbed to death in their southeast Memphis home Friday.
That was a beautiful, sweet young lady. What happened, I don't understand.
This is an egregious act of evil that has shocked us to our core.
Clayton says the woman that killed her own 4 children isn't the woman she thought of to be a daughter.
I'm praying for her. This is the work of the devil.
SWAT responded. Neighbors reported hearing several flashbangs, but it wasn't until hours later officers forced their way into the condo and found Dejaudim had killed the couple's 3 children before turning the gun on himself.
The youngest, 8 years old.
And police believe their father also killed his wife before turning the gun on himself.
Today was the day the Stonewall became an official national monument.
June 26th this year, President Obama officially designating Stonewall Inn a national monument.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
This new national park is for all Americans. Let us use this national park site to overcome hatred.
A God Bless America banner breaks the Penfield town code, but the woman who hung it says she is keeping it up to support our country. The town says it will not turn a blind eye to the banner hanging at the 5 Mile Cafe.
I was driving into work yesterday and I just was very compelled with all that's going on in Orlando and in our country. I just really felt that that banner should be up.
But the town of Penfield says it can't be.
At 9:30, I'm Jeremy Hubbard.
And I'm Aristea Brady. After telling the pastor last week that he could no longer advertise with the word Jesus, Colorado Springs officials now reviewing that decision.
I asked them why we could no longer use the name of Jesus, and they said it's because if you use the name of Jesus, we must allow hate messaging.
What kind of world is this if we can't say that Jesus is Lord?
They paid for the bench, and it's not, like I said, it's not hurting anybody.
I was very, very upset. That's bigger than my church. That's bigger than me.
Pastor Lawson Purdue and Charis Christian Center have been advertising their Jesus campaign for 3 years. But they were told last week if they want to continue advertising, they can no longer use the name Jesus. Pastor Purdue says that he has received numerous messages from believers, non-believers, and even strong atheist groups that taking away this message would be an infringement of our First Amendment right.
Some stop by today. They say we're agnostics, we're atheists, but we're very upset about this, because this is about the freedoms that we enjoy as American citizens.
And we're building an inclusive society.
The Marine Corps is now planning to remove the word man from 19 job titles to make the service more gender neutral.
It's been an historic week for the transgender community. On Thursday, Defense Secretary Ash Carter announced the lifting of a U.S. military ban on transgender troops. Today, they can serve openly. And on Tuesday, Democratic primary voters in 2 states elected 2 transgender women, a first for a major party, and they both happen to be named D.
What today says is that we're a country of inclusiveness.
From October, transgender troops will qualify for medical benefits, including surgery to change gender.
Being out in the military will be very challenging for a while, certainly. Just it takes time for certain mindsets to kind of to change, but that change is happening, and it will get a lot easier as time goes by.
It was a year ago that the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage in the U.S., and a federal judge has blocked a Mississippi law that some say would have made it easier to deny those marriages on religious objections that just happened last night. Are we really seeing the dominoes now fall?
First in Lower Manhattan tonight, LGBT students and their families gathered to show their pride at the Tweed Courthouse.
This school year has been described as a game changer for LGBT rights in New York City schools. That was until Matthew Crisson became LaGuardia High School's first gender-fluid prom queen.
Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the country will explore the use of gender-neutral identity cards.
I rise today to express my concern about troubling new developments in Russia. Russia's parliament, the Federal Assembly, has just approved so-called anti-terrorism legislation that actually criminalizes free speech and that attacks religious liberty. If President Putin signs this legislation into law in the coming weeks, it will be illegal for Christians to share their faith outside of a church building.
Now, a Lexington business owner is under fire with the town for flying 10 American flags in front of his store. Billie Jean Shaw spoke to town officials who say the owner is violating the town ordinance.
I thought maybe it was about time we returned to the patriotism in America. There's not enough of it. It seems to be lost.
Bob Michaelis is catching some heat from town officials for placing several American flags in front of his business.
Faith-based movies are doing well. Yeah. They're very interesting. They're movies I want to sit around and have my kids watch. Sure. I made my son and daughter watch it. I didn't have to make them. They liked it. And yet Hollywood still goes to the gratuitous violence, sex, and everything else.
This is all about forgiveness. What does he do? Of course he wants to, attack and go back after these people. He knows who they are. He's got people around him telling him that's not the right road to go down. The gallows road is really a metaphor for what road are you going down, that we all go down a wrong road eventually, and sometimes you got to find a way to